Let you in. We got. All right, let's go back over here.
Okay, let's see. So now I'm on the Yeti. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're coming through loud and clear, and your guest
Okay.
is on her way.
Okay, so we have our old friend Santi who just got a huge award, Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh,
So
cool.
so Santi's coming on. Let's see. What did I just do? Oh. Hi, Mary.
Hi, can you see me?
Yeah.
And you can hear me okay?
Yep,
Yes, sure
you're
can.
coming
Okay,
through
I can't
loud
see it.
and clear. Well,
Yeah, no. You
we
see me
lost.
now?
Yes, I see
You
you
lost
now.
me.
And Elizabeth, we
Oh,
don't see you.
can you hear
Yeah.
me okay? I'm
Yes.
sorry. Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you. And you do it via Zoom just because it's easier that way in terms of you don't need to do and okay, great. Hi, how are you, Elizabeth?
Hi there. Hi, Mary. So Santi, hopefully he's coming. John? Okay. So do you want to ring Santi? Tell him we're on?
And is this live? I'm sorry, or you're
No,
recording?
no. We
And
record on Zoom and then Richard cleans it up and then it airs tonight it airs tomorrow at 10 and then tomorrow night at 8 and then late Sunday and then I think one other time during the weekend.
At
can
So
you only
and then
get it in
midnight
the
on
area?
Monday.
Can
so
you
no,
get it from
Central Coast. And so Central Coast of California. And so
right?
yes, so what we can do is Mary, we can send you a link to this whole show.
That'd be
And
fantastic. Great.
yeah, and you can use it however you want to use the link. Um, sometimes people put, okay, a little bit on their website or
Right, right. Can we cut it? I mean, we can cut it
yeah,
if we need to. Okay.
definitely.
How do you
Definitely.
usually cut it, Richard? I'm sorry. It,
Okay. What do you mean?
like if I wanted to cut a 3-minute segment or something of me and Sante to post on Instagram.
Elizabeth will send you a link to both the audio and video. You can then download it and cut it however you choose.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's like in a hightail format or something like this. So Richard sends an MP3
Right.
file. And so you can use that however you want, Mary. And yeah.
Great. Okay. Did you need an intro from me, Elizabeth, or you're
No,
okay? I mean,
I didn't get a bio from you, but you can do your own little intro. And you know what, John, call Santi, will you? I'm getting worried. So John is
yeah.
here, have you met John, Mary?
No, I no, but I'm happy as
Okay.
that. Sorry, I was just going to say I can do a little intro.
There's
Yeah.
John. Okay, so John was the person who accompanied Santi to his honorific.
Santi.
Oh yeah, there we go. So Santi, get on the Zoom.
We were out in Santa Barbara last year in May, and we had a beautiful dinner with Sante. And anybody who wants to do a New York City swap,
Oh, okay.
my partner is from
Wait, Mary,
California.
hold on a second. That's just Santi on the line. Does he need the Zoom? Oh, I'll send the Zoom.
Trying to get it in.
Elizabeth is going to try and resend it to you right now. That's okay. Did you find it?
So I assume it's just audio. They just use Zoom as the method to do it. Okay.
Okay, tell Santi it's coming right now.
Okay, well, if not, she's just about to. She just sent it. Okay, great. Well, we'll see.
The three of them are on. Two of them are on.
Okay. Talk to you in a second.
Okay,
No,
John was
their house.
John was just trying to see if Santi was having trouble. There's John in the background there, Mary. He's see if Santi had trouble getting the Zoom link organized. So we just resent the Zoom link. So he should be on pretty soon. So Richard, Santi should be coming in. Yeah, there he is. Okay. So Mary, yeah. So so John, who you was seeing in the background, John helped Santi out and well, Santi helped John out. They both went to Sicily together.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
And you know, when Santi got his award in Sicily and he had that big museum show in Sicily. So yeah, and then John wrote a book about that whole experience with Santi, and so anyway, so I thought John should be here for the interview too. And there's Santi. Hi, Santi.
Hi,
How are
Santi.
you? Hi,
Hi.
Mary. How
Hi, I'm in,
everybody?
yeah, we're in Washington, D.C.
Oh, what?
Oh,
You're not in New York.
No, just today. Yeah, we were visiting. There's a show of my mom's that's ending, so we wanted to go see it at the National Women's Museum.
And is your
So,
mom somebody that I should know of?
possibly it depends how much time you have. Her name was Ruth Orkin. Ruth Orkin. She's known for a photo of a woman walking down the street in Italy in Florence in 1951, and all the men are looking at her. That's
Oh
just
yeah.
one photo. That's one photo, and there's tons of others. So, yeah, and then they were a filmmaker, and Andy Davis re-optioned my parents' film Little Fugitive to remake it a long time ago, which is how I originally met Andy Davis and worked on Mentors with Santi and Tony. So I'll tell you about that. And
Oh
I'll
yeah.
just
So
I'll take your direction, Elizabeth, whatever
yeah.
you
So
want me to
so
do. And
the
I don't know how long you want me to talk if you're going to answer
well, the
questions.
whole
Just
interview is like 45 minutes, and
okay.
basically, what I want to do is I want to talk about American Photography Archives Group
Hmm.
and some of this is this an annual award?
Yes. Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, the group is my group. I founded it 26 years ago. I can
Okay.
tell a
So
little bit, but again, don't feel if you need to interrupt me or if I'm going on, just don't hesitate to do that. Just direct me and
so I
do
I
whatever you
think
need
what
to do.
So I think what the plan would be, Mary, if it's all right with you, is I want to start by introducing why we're having the show, and then a little bit about Santi. And our audience here knows Santi very well, but I want to give a
Wonderful.
big background.
Hmm.
And then after we do that, then I really want to talk with you about what the archives is all about, and then that sort of thing. We're going to work that in, but I also want to have time to read the beautiful thank you note that Santi wrote to you guys, Mary and the voting committee. It's a beautiful letter, and I want to
Yeah.
have time to read that. So, Richard, how are we looking?
Looking good. Whenever you're ready, we may begin.
Okay. And Santi's got his, can we hear Santi's voice level?
yeah, okay.
He's
I'm
coming through
Ian.
loud and clear.
Hi,
Can you hear Santi?
Yes,
Richard.
yes.
How are you?
All right.
Okay.
Then let's get this show on the road, as it were.
Okay.
In three, two, one, you are live.
Hello, 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 Santa Barbara. It's your chantress of everything valuable and beautiful, Elizabeth Stewart. And one of my good friends has just been given a international honor, and I thought this is a perfect opportunity to realize what a treasure we have. There's a tradition in Japan when there's an artist that rises to the rank that Santi Visalli has risen, and they get to be called a national treasure. So I'm going to call Santi our national treasure. He lives here in Santa Barbara, but he came to us years ago from New York City. He's a photographer for more than 50 years now. He's traveled the globe. He's shot for leading magazines, newspapers. He's published many, many books. And then recently came in my email that he's been given a Lifetime Achievement Award in Photography at the American Photography Archives Group in New York City. And this has seemed to me a perfect opportunity to celebrate a little bit about what Santi has done for the industry, for the art form. And we'll just introduce Santi by reading a little of the biography. And by the way, I don't know if a couple of years ago, if you're a Santa Barbarian, you might have come to the premiere of the movie that was shot of Santi and his mentor, Tony Vaccaro, which was called Mentors. Andy Davis did the movie, and it was an absolute sellout and a fantastic evening. If you haven't seen that, you can really get a sense of who Santi is by watching the movie Mentors, by the way. But Santi has covered the news as a photojournalist for years and years. And I'd like to tell people that there's a couple famous photos that you'll recognize that Santi has shot. But more than that, Santi is photographed one and say, well, Santi, what has he done? Well, he's photographed 5 presidents of the United States: Johnson, Nixon, Carter, Reagan, and Clinton. You know how they have the walls where they have the photos. So those are Santi's of those presidents. Um, in the past, Santi and I, as friends, we've talked about some of his films, the film sets that he's worked on. Federico Fellini, Lena Wertmüller, Peter Yates. And about Fellini, I can remember, Santi, years ago, I love Fellini's movies and I adored Fellini. And I saw when I was Mary, when I was dancing, I was in ballet, and we toured to La Scala in Milan, and Fellini had directed Turandot, the opera. And so I remember meeting him and saying, wow, I was so surprised he was so small, but he had beautiful suit on. And I mentioned that to Sandy. He said, it's funny because Fellini, he didn't like to use a regular toilet. It was like, how did Santi know that? Apparently, he liked to sort of relieve himself in other places, but not a toilet. So I've always remembered that about, Fellini. Anyways, Santi got to know his people that he shot, and he got to understand them
He
in a
was
really interesting way.
microphobic.
Huh? How do you say again?
He was microphobic. He was afraid of
Oh, a germaphobe.
German, yeah. No, Germanphobia, yeah. He So he always went against the wall.
It's so funny. Well, Santi's photos appeared in, I don't know, 50 plus magazines and newspapers: New York Times, Newsweek, Time Life, U.S. News and World Report, Forbes, American Heritage, Paris Match, Stern, Oggi, Epoca, and Le Europeo. And also, I got to say, one of the favorite publications that I know of Santi's is fairly recent. When we did, Mary, I don't know, did you have a chance when you were here in Santa Barbara to visit Moxie, the Wolf Museum of Exploration and Innovation? Did you
No,
visit?
no, unfortunately, no,
Okay.
unfortunately, I didn't. No.
All right. Well, next time you come, we got to take you, because then what we're going to do is put Santi's book in one hand, and you can look at Moxie in the other. Santi was honored here again in Santa Barbara when Richard Wolf was building a museum, a children's museum, and their board selected Santi to document the whole progress of the construction. And the book is amazing. I mean, it's like a Walker Evans, it's like all the architecture is right there. And Santi, I can remember, he's 94, I guess 94 going on 95, but this was in 2018, if I'm not wrong. And I can remember Santi, carrying all of his equipment and going around, and he's underneath all these ladders and scaffolding, and the guys are working around him with these big boulders, lifting stuff up and making the construction of the museum, and Santi's underneath 5 stories shooting the whole thing. And the book that resulted is beautiful. Anyway, many of the books that he's done, just to mention a few: A Walk Through Urban America, actually, the University Art Gallery at the California Polytechnic State University at San Luis Obispo has a book. They published Santi Visalli, photojournalist. Famous and Infamous is another book in 1909. Icons, selection. This is also a show. So it's a catalog of a show. Icons, a selection of movie people that was shown at our local gallery, by the way, Mary, in 2009. Some of the books that I have collected of Santi's, of course, are some of the beautiful city books that he's done. He's done, books of New York. He's done all these beautiful impressions of various gorgeous American cities and architecture of the American cities through the years. Also, one other fun thing to know about Santi is that in a really formative time at the Foreign Press Association of New York, he was the leader, he was the director, and he was the chairman of at least 400 members representing 60 countries. Also, finally, and then I want to talk about the award here, this Lifetime Achievement Award that Santi Visalli has been gifted. He was made a knight at the Order of Merit in the Republic of Italy in 1996. And then in 2011, he was awarded a medal for his life achievements by the President of the Italian Republic. And by the way, it's been a fun journey for me, Mary, to have known Santi because I was appraising some of his work, his photojournalistic work, for a donation to Cal State Channel Islands, and I was able to see the opening weekend there when they opened all of the archive, and they did a beautiful case of some of the medals. There was the medal, the Knight of the Order of Merit was there from the Republic of Italy, and the President of the Italian Republic medal was there, and some of the old things from his office in New York City, like the phone, the hotline phone that he used as a director of the Foreign Press Association of New York. So there's a big case, like a museum display case, with some of the artifacts from Santi's life. And I remember taking copious photos of that and being so proud of Santi. I happen to know intimately that when we did the donation for Channel Islands, we were talking about millions of negatives, but the actual file, Santi's life file, the file that basically is the 4 or 5 decade file of scenery, architecture, notable people, cityscapes, etc. That's over between 200,000 and 300,000 actually published photos that he's got in his file. So this is a huge achievement because of the fact it's a Lifetime Achievement Award. So he gets to put this award amongst the awards, for example, the Knight in the Order of Merit, the Life Achievement Award from the President of the Italian Republic, and then many other awards in his lifetime. And, this is a gentleman who has done so many things for photography and so many things for Santa Barbara. Mary, I don't know if you knew, but, Santa Barbara Museum of Art gave him a show as well under Charles Wiley, who is our photo curator here. And that was an amazing show, and the public loved it. There was Mary, there was this huge banner outside the museum, of an image that Santi shot, and that was there during the duration of the show. And every time I'd go past the museum, I'd be like, there's Santi's, I love that. There's Santi's work, right? Huge. I mean, the whole facade of the museum. So you can only imagine.
Sounds wonderful. Yeah, sounds
But
great.
yeah. So, in other places that he's shown here in Santa Barbara too, there's been a lot of opportunities where people will come to him and say, would you do a pop-up show? We're doing something here at the restaurant, or we're doing something here at the Civic Theater. Would you do a pop-up show? So, he's had the opportunity, or we've had the opportunity, I should say, to see Santi's work. And Santi, let me just say, congratulations. And is there going to be a ceremony, Mary? Tell me about the procedure.
Sure. I mean, I can tell you a little bit about the group too, so people know, where it's coming from. We did have an award ceremony 2 weeks ago. We have an annual conference at SVA, and the Saturday night award ceremony, where most of the people got their awards. He had a very dear friend's daughter, Camilla, who came and accepted it on his behalf. And then I sent it out to him, so he has it in his possession, Sante, I think. And we were very thrilled to give it to him. I can tell you a little bit about the archive group if you want, or about my background. Wherever you want me to go, Elizabeth.
Well, I think first of all, I want to hear your background. I want to hear about the American Photography Archives group for sure. But I want you to kind of, Mary, you're the best person now to put this into cultural context. So I want you to put Santi's work into cultural context. Why this award was given, why Santi has a Lifetime Achievement Award, why his work is honored by the American Photography Archives group. So is there a way you can put his work into a context that we can
Yeah,
grasp?
sure, absolutely, absolutely. So, but you do need to know a little bit about you can make it shorter and just call it APAG. That's our short, name, APAG, but APAG. I mean, the one thing that's important to know is that I started it because my parents were well-known photojournalists and photographers, Ruth Orkin and Morris Engel, and I was left my mother's estate 41 years ago when she passed away. My father's 21 years ago. And so I started managing their archive and not really, having anywhere to turn. In 2000, I had a dinner with about 5 people who were also heirs. And then we've grown and grown and grown. And we now have over 300 people. And when you talk about photojournalism and you talk about our group, again, I've never solicited anybody. And we started with just word of mouth, but we now have some of the biggest names in the industry. Hopefully some of your listeners will know, and you'll know, like Ansel Adams, like Imogen Cunningham, like Gordon Parks, like Lee Miller, Archive, Arthur Rothstein. The list goes on and on and on as terms of people who we have in the group, and they're very well-known photojournalists. Most of those people obviously aren't living. But in terms of Sante's accomplishments, and when we looked at people who have, who are in the group, Sante is also an active participant of the group. We have Zoom meetings every 3 weeks, and I'm always pleased, and he knows that when I see him on the call. When you looked at the body of work and the people who are in the group, his work just stood out. This is the 3rd year we've done awards for the group, even though we've been around so long. We gave it in the past to Chester Higgins, to Neil Slavin, to other people in the industry. But, the photojournalism world is big and small at the same time. And people doing what we're doing is unique. And Sante has spent a lifetime, as you described it, shooting, and has a wonderful variety of work to show for it. And, we nominated, the board and the advisory board nominated people, and then we made a final decision. And it was, we have 2 people every year. Sante got it this year along with a photographer named Marilyn Nance, who's based in Brooklyn. And his work just stands out in terms of what he's achieved, the depth, the variety, the how his actual work. I mean, as I said, I look at a lot of work that comes across on social media that people send me. I go to shows. I'm here in Washington, D.C. right now because my mother has a show at the National Women in the Arts. And we went to the National Gallery today, and we went to the Library of Congress yesterday. I look at a lot. And when you see somebody like Sante, who consistently has wonderful images and knows how to shoot, knows how to edit, it was just an obvious choice. So, and we did have an incredible visit with Sante. Last May, we were in California for another show of my mother's, and my partner and I drove up and had a beautiful dinner with Sante, and it just all made a lot of sense. So I'm thrilled that he is here. I'm thrilled to be here to talk to you about him, and it's well deserved.
Fantastic. Okay, and Santi, I think now would be a good time. Santi, do you happen to have your letter that you wrote thanking the committee for your award, or shall I read it?
You read it, please.
Okay.
You know
So
I'm dyslexic about reading.
Okay. Well, this is Santi's letter of thank you, and I think this shows a lot about his style as a photographer. And John, have you read this letter?
Yes.
Okay. So John is in the background there. Mary, John is actually a good friend of Santi's as well, and a fellow photographer that actually Santi mentored for the past almost 18 years now. So it's fantastic. Santi writes to the American Photography Archives Group, APAG, upon being given the Lifetime Achievement Award. He writes the following: I would like to thank Mary, who's on with us right now, by the way, Mary and the voting committee for honoring me with the Lifetime Achievement Award, which I humbly accept. This award means a great deal to me, not only as a professional, but as a person. It represents a lifetime spent searching for truth through a lens. Wow. At the same time, it gives me new energy and a renewed sense of responsibility to keep working to keep pushing forward and to continue contributing to the advancement of photojournalism, even at age 94. Photojournalists stand on the front lines of history. We go where events unfold, sometimes into uncertainty, sometimes into danger, so others can see, understand, and remember. Our work is not just about taking pictures, it is about bearing witness. It's about documenting reality with honesty and integrity. It's about bringing light into places that might otherwise remain unseen. Over the years, I have learned that photography is not only about equipment or technique, it's about timing, courage, and above all, respect for people and their stories. Many times we work in situations that test us, but we continue because the story matters, the people matter, the truth matters. This award does not belong to me alone. It belongs to the colleagues who supported me, the editors who trusted me, the mentors who guided me, and the many individuals who allowed me into their lives, often in their most vulnerable moments. I accept this honor with gratitude and humility and with the promise that I will continue this work. As long as there is a story to tell and at least a little light to follow, I will be there. Thank you for this recognition and thank you for supporting photojournalism. Santi Visalli. So Santi was responding to his Lifetime Achievement Award with those words, which are truly beautiful. And I guess, Mary, would be a good time to ask you something about your background and also the American Photography Archives group. It's so funny. Sometimes I think that there's no such thing as 6 degrees of separation. So Imogen Cunningham's daughter actually is a friend of mine. So Henry Bristol's father, Horace Bristol, was a photojournalist, and Henry's a friend of mine. And so Henry lives here on and off in Santa Barbara and also in Italy as well. And so he got I forget what was her name, Cunningham's Meg, that's right.
Yeah, the
Meg,
granddaughter. Yeah, that's
yeah,
Meg.
the
Meg.
granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he brought Meg to Santa Barbara, and he brought a number of other heirs of photos of people that had taken photos, and parents and grandparents. He said, like yourself. And we convened a meeting, and Santi actually spoke at the meeting. I remember being out to dinner with Meg, and I guess they live on an island in Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went out to dinner with her and her husband. We talked about, and there were all the heirs were there. This was years ago, and Santi was there. We talked about what the challenges were. Of course, I'm an appraiser, so copyright issue came up quite a bit, and valuation and authenticity and this sort of thing came up quite a bit. And it's so interesting, Mary, what you're telling me is that these people just kind of gravitate towards APAG because I just got off the phone with Henry Bristol. He was talking about possibly doing some kind of a donation to the Getty based on some of his dad's series, and he just didn't know where to turn. And I'm going to tell him to give you a call if you don't mind. But anyway, tell us about the American Photography Archives group. That's
Yeah,
probably
no,
exactly why you came together.
yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you, Sante, for those very kind words. I will publish them on the website if that's okay with you.
Please, yes.
Somewhere. Yeah, absolutely. And I briefly alluded to the fact that I had started APAG in 2000, and it's grown and grown and grown. And we do Zoom meetings. We just had this conference. We do field trips. We just have provided a need. There's no other group like it, as far as I'm aware of in the world. That I call it a support group for photographers who are managing a privately held archive. And as I said initially, it was heirs, but it's certainly now photographers as well, who are working on their archive. I think it's like 60-40, photographers and versus archives. We have independent archivists. So on the Zoom meetings, we bring in sometimes an industry expert or a photographer who's a member to discuss their work. The last meeting we had almost 95 people. We had an IRS tax expert. With certain people, we have a great deal. We usually have about 60 to 70 people, but my background is, as I said, my parents left me their archives, and I didn't know where to turn. I had people I worked with in the field who had known my mom first and then my father, but I ended up writing a handbook, and we've since revised it in 2024. I used to say there was no book for me to turn to, so I wrote one.
What's the
And
name of that book? What's the name of the book?
it's the Photo Archive Handbook, What You Need to Know. And the
Okay.
most important thing is also the website, which is just apag.us. So,
Okay.
and then the interesting 6 degrees of separation with Sante is that my parents were also filmmakers. And as I said, Ruth Orkin and Morris Engel, and they made a film in 53 called A Little Fugitive. And coincidentally, Andy Davis, who Sante knows very well, who, is obviously an incredible filmmaker, optioned the film initially a long time ago and had met my father, and we sort of stayed in touch and stayed friends. And then when Mentors came about, there's a connection between APAG and how Andy found out about Sante and Tony, but Andy would have to tell the whole story exactly. But Andy found out about APAG but knew of Tony and Sante. But anyway, and then at the end, I ended up helping with a friend. We did picture rights, photo rights, licensing for Mentors. So I became even more familiar with Sante. I hadn't met him until last May, which was a wonderful time, as I said. But I had met Tony Vaccaro, his dear friend, who's the subject also for the film, who's lived in New York, and his family was a member of the group, and so it all sort of comes together, as you can imagine.
Well, like you said, it's a little big world. What your world
Yeah,
is a little big world. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. No, absolutely. And the photography world is as I said, quite small in terms of people who are managing archives like myself. So
Well, so Santi's I got a quote here that I wanted Santi to discuss a little bit. He says he's teaching other photographers, and he says to other photographers who he's teaching, "Your work is an extension of your personality and your culture. Try to bring dignity to everything you photograph." And I wonder, Santi, can you explain that quote? That's your quote. How would you describe that?
Well, when you photograph something, um, you try to present uh, in a better light possible. Um, all the elements that makes a good photographs have to be there. The light, the composition, and the message. That strength your photograph if those elements are there. I try to teach people they often look but they don't see. I try to teach them how to see things. Um, and when you see those things, the word itself says, I presented this thing, and when you talk to your friends, oh, I want to present this in the best light possible. Uh, the phrase already tells you that that's the way photographs should be. People can look at picture, it has to be focused, not the picture necessarily in focus, but has to be a point of focus where your eyes go, where your eyes rest. That light has to guide your eye to the subject that you want to show. But at one point, I want to talk about a photograph that purposely I never took. because I thought would be disturbing. So uh, when we get a chance,
Well, yeah, please do. Please do. Tell me about the photo you never took.
okay, when just before E.T., the movie, Spielberg movie, came out, Newsweek wanted to do a story. And so I get a call from the movie critic on Newsweek, Jack Call, says, come to the office, there's something very important. I don't want to discuss it on the phone. So I went to Newsweek and I see a two-person there that look like a bodyguards and a secretary and another person taking notes. It said the movie company doesn't want to release a picture of E.T. on time, and so we're going to have this two bodyguards. We're going to get three seats for you. The two bodyguards, one next to each to you, and a secretary in the back. You shoot to the screen and take the film out, give it to the secretary, put the blank roll in case they stop you. If they stop you, they arrest you. The legal department of Newsweek will take care of everything, all the expenses. And if they confiscate your camera, we buy you a new camera. So everything's set. I photograph E.T. And then it happened to me, E.T. was made by an Italian called Rambaldi. And Rambaldi imitated all the movements that the human, I think there are 84 movements that we make. Um, he made it possible that E.T. made all those movements. Um, so he explained to me everything. I did the story. 2 years after that, I happened to be in a studio. And as I enter the studio, I see E.T. in a stretcher. And he has a cut from the throat to this belly. And you could see the whole structure inside. And it looked like a person in an operating room. He was dismounting it and using part of the pieces that he needed. And I thought for a moment, I was tempted to take the picture. I was really, really ready. But then I thought about the million kids in the world. They had seen E.T. in the best light. And now he was in a stretcher, cut out like an operating room. And I turned around and I never took that picture. So that's sensitivity, you know. You don't have to be bully all the time.
That's a beautiful story, and that's a great example of photographing something in the best light. And the lack of this photograph actually indicated to you that the children should see ET in the best light. So I think that's fantastic. Richard's
Yeah.
giving us a sign we have to go to quick break, our producer. So we go to quick break, and then I would like to talk a little bit to Mary about what's next, what she sees next in photojournalism. This is something I've been dying to ask her. Um, I just recently started to mentor a number of younger appraisers who write their appraisals using ChatGPT. And I'm not, I can see how flat the appraisals turn out and the narratives turn out. And I'm starting to worry about that world. And I'm wondering what Mary has to say about that world, and Santi as well when we get back from the break. Hey, Richard, let's go to quick break. Reintroducing Santi Visalli, who's a member of our community here in Santa Barbara, but also an international citizen, has just been given a momentous award through the American Photography Archives Group in New York City, and it is a Lifetime Achievement Award in Photography, honored for a body of work that has captivated audience and critics across continents, and that really is true. A keen eye for telling detail has left an enduring imprint on the photographic community. And then we have heard from Santi about photographing. His philosophy of photographing is to photograph in the best light possible, which is a double entendre, double meaning for sure. Let's take a quick break, Richard, get back from the break. I want to hear from Mary about the future of archives, photographic archives. That interests me greatly. Don't turn that down. Back in a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, you're live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart. We're celebrating today a terrific honor, a member of our local community here in Santa Barbara, but also a citizen of the world. This is Santi Visalli, a photojournalist for, I don't know, 50, 60 years. Anybody's guess. But Santi is 94 years old. He has been given an award from the American Photography Archives Group in New York City, a Lifetime Achievement Award in photography to go along with some of the other awards that he's been given, notably the Knight of the Order of Merit of the Republic of Italy, 1996, and 2011, the Award for Medal of Life Achievement from the President of the Italian Republic, 2011. This is now 2026 Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Photography Archives Group. And the director of the group, Mary Engel, is here with us to honor Santi today. And we were talking a little bit about what she calls APAG. She founded APAG in, I think you said 2000, right, Mary?
Yeah, correct. Absolutely.
Okay, and then a shout out. There are at least 3 members of Santa Barbara community that need to know of Mary's group, and I just going to give a shout out to the books she wrote. She actually revised it in 2024. It's a photo archive handbook. It's about what you want to know. All you want to know is a photo archive handbook that Mary Engel, Engel, has authored, and she actually revised it last year in 2024. So that would be something to look up. Just go to apag.us and you can find out far more about the group itself. Mary, just before we have to say goodbye, I want you to opine for me on the future of photojournalism, as a matter of fact. What's your
Yeah,
thoughts?
sure. Yeah, absolutely. And just real quick, we did have an APAG West branch at one point because there are so many people on the West Coast. But once we started going to Zooms, everybody became one big group. But before Zooms, we had about 50 people in Northern California. But yeah, AI is a really interesting area. I mean, as Rick Smolin and Fred Richin, two well-known, Rick is an author and a photographer. Fred Richin is a well-known author and educator. He wrote a book called The Synthetic Eye. They spoke at the conference 2 weeks ago, and basically we're talking about the future, and the point is it's here. So we can't do anything about it, and the question is how you work it into your lives, how you allow it into photojournalism. Some of it we can't control. I mean, there are. We had a legal panel, and there are lawyers, obviously, and everybody is concerned about not allowing, anything that's an AI photograph to be copyright. But that's, it's all to be decided. That's one issue. As I said, as you mentioned, ChatGPT can be amazing because if you know how to put the right prompts in, it can be incredibly helpful and save time for proposals, for any kind of questions you have, but it's not gospel. So always, don't use it as gospel. In terms of photography, you can also color correct with ChatGPT, which I've done. You take a faded photograph and put it in and say, just correct the tonal qualities, but you don't want it to affect the features necessarily, at least from my point of view. And then the other thing is you can make it move. You can take my mother's most known photograph is American Girl in Italy, which is celebrating its 75th anniversary this year. We have a new box set that Phillips is about to release. But Rick took that photo and he made the woman on the photograph move. She comes. It's a still photo. He made it with AI. Made her walk out of the photograph, get onto a motorcycle, and walk and drive away. So, you know, I don't think it's 100% terrible. I don't think it's 100% good. I think it's a question of where we're at now, just like everybody was apprehensive about computers, as Rick said a long, long time ago. He showed us a clip from the Today Show in the 80s where everybody was all concerned about computers. And AI is here. AI is with us. And the question is how it's going to be used and how people approach it and how people respect it. So that's as much as I can say. Fred's book is called The Synthetic Eye, and Rick Smolin. They've both written a great deal about it. So
What's Fred's last name?
Richin, Ritchin.
Okay, I got Fred Richin, The Synthetic Eye. Well,
Yeah.
Santi, as an old master, what do you think about what Mary's telling us? The capabilities of AI and ChatGPT as regards. I'm only thinking of archives in this case. It's like how much can AI go in and take from? So Santi's archive is an academic institution now. So how much can AI take of that archive? Santi, can you tell us what you think of that?
If he is for the right purpose, like photos are aging, and eventually, 100 year, 150 years, we could lose them. So AI maybe can preserve them even better than we can now. They can correct something. For instance, a magazine sent me to Hong Kong, and that day the sky is not right. What I do now, there's a possibility very easily that sky can be corrected. But one thing I resent is to manipulate it too much, your work, because you defeat yourself. If you took a picture that you like it, a picture that it took a lot of time to construct according to the way you see it, and then you have to distort it. No, I don't want to do that. But the little nuances and the little correction that sometimes the camera does not see it. You see the brain, if you see smoke against the sky, let's say, and the camera sometimes cannot really capture it the way your eyes see, because your brain can construct it that what's behind the little smoke. You have seen smoke. You know what the smoke looks like. So a little piece, a little bit of smoke can be then reconstructed by your brain. But I don't want to do it, artificially. That's what I'm resenting, to manipulate the whole thing. A little nuances here and there that that day things were not right, or there was something in the ground that disturbed a cigarette buds. I used to walk with a bucket and a broom when I did all my CD, and I cleaned the sidewalks of America. Because every time I took a picture, there was a can, there was a Kleenex, there was cigarette butts, there was all sorts of things. I remember once in Boston, I was photographed the house of Paul Revere, and somebody had left the car there and right in front. I had agreed with the police that nobody will park there. So I called the chief of police. He said, "Oh my God, I send a truck now. and we're going to move the car, which they did. But under that car, there was tremendous amount of garbage. Now it's on Sunday, I can't call the maid to clean. So I had my own broom and I did my work. So there you are. AI, I could have done that.
I see what you're saying. It's interesting because one of the lines of the award itself, the Lifetime Achievement Award that was given to Santi Visalli, it says, I'm just reminded, Santi's keen eye for telling detail has left an enduring imprint on the photographic community for sure. The detail thing. Here's a photographer who carries a broom and a dustpan with him. Talk about detail. That's fantastic. Yeah. Amazing. So Mary, if folks want to find out more about your organization, if people want to, get to know you, especially if they have interest in archives and they are heirs or they do have this issue of, and it's a very prescient one right now, how to handle an archive in the face of what we're talking about today. How do they get in touch with you? How do we find you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Go to the website, apag.us. My email is mary@apag.us. We have an Instagram for APAG. I have Instagram for my mother, for my father, for myself. We have websites. There's a lot of information online, and we welcome new members. And if anybody has questions about the group and about managing privately held archives, only photography, I'm happy to chat with them. I'll chat with anybody for 15 or 20 minutes if they have questions, and they can also come as a guest for 1 or 2 meetings, and then after that we ask them to join. And membership is pretty reasonable at 125 or 150 a year for most basic memberships.
And
So
then
anybody.
thank you, Mary. And then Santi, if folks want to see more of your work, how do we see more of your work, Santi?
Uh, I have a website. It's called thefinestphotos.com. There are about 10,000 pictures there. If they want to see more, they can go to Channel Island if they look up people at the university, and they have my whole collection there. And that is available to researchers and scholars. That's the purpose that I donated to a university, because I was thinking about, since I was very young at the beginning of my career, that all my work had to stay together to have an impact. And as you know, because you did the estimate, I wanted scholar to be able to see future generation what America looked in the 60s. I can say without reservation that the people in the world for about 60 years saw America through my eyes, unless whatever was published, especially in Italy. Um, so I did a lot of work, tried from the very beginning. I have my very first pictures that I took uh, uh, in 1957 that is still good today. Everything in that picture is good. So I never studied photography. I studied on my own. I made a lot of errors, and when you make errors, you don't make it twice. The same error. So it's the best way to learn, by making mistakes.
So thefinestphotos.com to
Yeah.
see more of Santi's work, and then also the archive, if scholar of photography or scholar of history, that'll be the Cal State Channel Islands, their special collections. archive. They have the entire work, all the negatives, etc., all Santi Visalli's work. And Mary Engel has been with us today, the director and founder of APAG, American Photography Archives Group. She actually is an advisor for people that are managing privately held photographic archives. And this, we can see that there's a terrific need for this. The reason for our show today was to honor Santi Visalli, a member of Santa Barbara community, but also the world community in photojournalism. He was just given the Lifetime Achievement Award in photography, along with one other photographer, Marilyn Nance, in the American Photography Archives Group, the 2026 award recipient. And I just have to say, along with many other awards that Santi's been given over the years, I always get so impressed when I tell people Santi, my friend, he's a Knight of the Order of Merit in the Republic of Italy. So is Sir, actually, Sir Santi Visalli. We also have a medal for life achievement given to him by the President of the Italian Republic. And now, at the age of 94, he has been given a Lifetime Achievement Award by the American Photography Archives Group in New York City. And the director has been with us today to help me celebrate Santi. Mary, thank you very much for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your stay in Washington. Mary's on a world tour now. Her parents were both very famous photojournalists and filmmakers. So she has just attended an opening of her mom, Orkin, her actual show at the Women's Museum, the Women's Art Museum in Washington, D.C. So Mary joins us from Washington, and Santi joins us from Santa Barbara, and the award has been given to him for the Lifetime Achievement Award by APAG, American Photography Archives Group. Thank you very much, both of you, for being with me today, and congratulations many times to Santi Visalli from all of us here at KZSB, and also all of us in Santa Barbara. We're so impressed. Our local hero, Santi, has been given this national award. Thank you very
Well,
much, both of you.
thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here and to honor Sante.
Thank you.
Bye,
Nice to
guys.
see you,
Thank
Mary.
you.
All right, there you go.
Bye.
Excellent. So, Mary, thank you very much for taking time out. I
Sure.
know
I
how
hope that
busy
was
you are.
okay. Yep.
That's
Yep.
fantastic.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great.
And
Great.
then like we said at the beginning of the interview, we're going to send you the link. Please put any snippet you want,
Yeah. Yeah, online.
or
Okay, great.
yeah, yeah, and feel free. Part of our agreement, Richard and I have an agreement with the station that we don't get paid. We give our artists the recordings,
Great. Great.
so you
And
can use it
you
how
did
you
it.
want.
Yeah, you did a great job of like picking up on different facts and all the things I said. So I appreciate that. The last, it wasn't, I wasn't, we didn't just have an opening for the Women's Museum, but that doesn't matter. So the show is up for another couple weeks. I just hadn't seen the show, but almost everything else you said was really factually correct. So I really appreciate that.
Very good, very
Yeah.
good.
Okay,
I think
great.
with your permission, I'm gonna have Henry Bristol give you a
Yeah,
actual.
absolutely. I know Horace. Sure, I know the name. I think my father even knew Horace Bristol, you're saying.
Yeah, so he had
Absolutely.
an agency called East West Photography, and he was
Okay,
a
but
wartime correspondent.
Horace Bristol's very familiar. So
Yeah.
I
Do you know
absolutely.
that one image? It's called The Gunner, and it's the naked,
Yes,
beautiful sailor.
absolutely.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I definitely know him. The question is whether he was a good friend of my father's, but I bet I bet he did. I bet
Oh, yeah.
he did
That
know
whole
him.
group seems to. It's very interesting. As I said, when we did actually have a fledgling meeting. Actually, I guess it was 2016 when Meg Cunningham came and a whole bunch of other people she brought
Mm.
that were also, managing privately held their parents
Oh,
and
okay.
grandparents
Interesting.
archives.
Yeah.
They all came, and Santi actually convened the meeting and talked to all of our attendees there. And I was actually asked to talk about valuation issues um, in regards to, as I said, copyright.
Right, right.
And
Sure, sure.
so, yeah, anyway, I'm going to have Henry Bristol. So
Yeah,
I'll-
absolutely. Just have him email me or yeah, just look at the website and I'm happy to talk to him. And thank you so much. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank
Sante,
you
I
guys.
talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
Santi.
Yeah,
Mary,
thanks, Sante. Yeah,
thank you again. You know,
of course.
I appreciate this award because it was given to me by my peers, people that
Yes,
understand photography. And to me, it means a lot. It wasn't
yes.
given to me by a politician. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, no, no.
Has more value.
Absolutely. I'm so pleased and I hope Andy listens to this and I enjoyed meeting you, Elizabeth and Richard, and I look forward to hearing it again and I'll try to post some of it in the near future. So
Great.
thank you
Yeah.
all and
Ciao.
we'll keep in touch.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Sure.
Bye.